Hi, and welcome to this tutorial video on how to either upgrade your Visual Studio 2019 to Visual Studio 2022 or just install Visual Studio 2022 if you don't have any versions installed. So as you can see on this machine here, if I just type in Visual Studio, we do see that I only have Visual Studio 2019. So let's go ahead and let's open up a web browser first here. And what I like to do is I just like to go to Google directly and then just type in Visual Studio. And that's all you really need to do. And then this will open up. And I usually just like to use the first link or the downloads option here. So let's go ahead and let's select that. Just select the first one. And if you scroll down a little bit, there will be a Visual Studio for Mac, or Visual Studio Code. Now, if you have a Mac, you could just download the Visual Studio for Mac. But we're going to be doing download Visual Studio, and we're going to be doing the Community 2022 edition, as it is completely free for individual developers, open source projects, or use in educational purposes. Professional, you do get a free trial for individual use, but after that, it would be a cost. And enterprise is a cost as well. So let's just select the community edition. Now this will download a very small exe file because this is a online installer. So we're just going to click on save file here. And that's going to download that. So we're just going to launch this exe. And that should pop up here. So let me just make sure you guys can actually see it and see what I'm doing here. So let me just zoom in here a little bit. All right, so we are just going to click on continue. So this will download the Visual Studio installer. So I'm not too sure on how long this will take. This usually does take a little bit of time, but it's actually going quite quickly. So this should pop up another window in just a few moments here. All right, so here we have it. If you guys have seen, let me just zoom out once again here, just because it is a little bit harder to see. Now, if you guys have seen my other video on installing Visual Studio 2019, it is actually pretty much identical, but I know I've had some people ask me about 2022 because they weren't seeing 2019 anymore. So this is why I am making this project here. So what I usually select here, let me just zoom in a little bit. I always like to select the .NET desktop environment because we usually work with the WPF forums for our PowerShell video. Now, if you guys want to do anything else, definitely add it in right away here. This way you don't have to do anything extra. Like if you want to do some Unity game development or some C++ development if you're using like Unreal Engine, definitely install those. If you plan on using Python, they do have Python, Node.js, ASP.NET development right in there as well. So they do have a lot of options that you can do. If you're planning on using Python for data science, they have some tools there as well. But for just the .NET tools and the Visual Studio 2019, it takes roughly about 5.7 gigs. So if I just move that over, there you guys go. So let's go ahead and let me just zoom out here, and we are just going to click on install. And then in here, it is just going to show us the installation progress here. So this might take a little while, and here you can actually see your other versions that are installed. So we can actually see our Visual Studio 2019 here, and what you would be able to do when this comes up, you can actually go ahead and delete that. I probably would recommend removing it unless you have some applications that you have built on it that might not be compatible with Visual Studio 2022, which I would say is probably unlikely between these two versions. There's not a great deal difference really upon them. So that's pretty much it for installing Visual Studio 2022. So we're just going to let this finish download and install, and I will be right back once that is all done. All right, so the install is actually complete. So once you actually do complete the install, a window will appear. And if you've already signed in to Visual Studio Community 2019, it should just use the same account. And that should log in. If you haven't installed Visual Studio 2019 or it prompts you to log in, just log in with any Microsoft account and it will let you continue. And here it is. So you can actually still see all the projects from my Windows Visual Studio 2019 actually pop up here because it's linked to my account. So I can actually take off right from there. So if we go back into the Visual Studio installer, like we saw earlier, if I click on more, there will be the option to uninstall Visual Studio 2019. So if you do want to remove it, that uninstall option is there. I will actually be doing this just to not take up more space on my computer than I need to, because I will just be using Visual Studio Community 2022. If you guys have any questions or comments, let me know down below in the comment section. Like, subscribe, and if you guys have any other languages that you guys want to learn, using Visual Studio Community 2022, I'm thinking about starting a series on C#. Kind of discuss that a little bit in my 2022 intro video. So I'm hoping to do some more PowerShell videos, obviously for a little bit, and then maybe start implementing a few C# videos. Maybe as soon as like April, I'm thinking, because it's just the beginning of March right now. So I'm thinking of starting that probably in April. Maybe just slowly trickle out some C# videos, starting right off with the basics, just making a Hello World console application, and then like a Hello World Windows Forms application. And then going from there, seeing what you guys would like to see created. Maybe integrate some APIs that we've built with PowerShell using REST-PS. Or there's a bunch of different possibilities out there that we can work on. If you guys have some ideas or things that you guys want to learn, let me know down below in the comments, and hit that notification bell to be notified when that next video comes out, and I will see you guys on the next video.